This is Sneaker Gears. My name is Levi, and welcome to a Performance Gears episode on the all-new replacement for the illustrious HyperDunk line, which is no longer with us. After 10 years of making a shoe that is meant for every position and every athlete, Nike has replaced it with none other than the AlphaDunk. All right, so the title kind of gives it away where it's dead on arrival. This is definitely not a shoe for every position and every player. This is a very specific shoe that I think a very specific set of athletes and with their needs are going to love it. So there's some aspects that I really did enjoy on this shoe, but overall it wasn't a fan for me. But I definitely want to break it down so those athletes out there looking at it can have a better idea of what they're getting. Now I'm obviously going to do a performance breakdown, but I really do want to compare this. So what are the best shoes to compare it to? Well, as we can see here, you have its grandfather, the Lebron X, as well as its cousin, the Zoom Rize, and one shoe I'm going to throw in because we're talking about a max cushion, max support sneaker. That's going to be your Jordan Why Not 2. So we have 4 shoes that have a lot of similarities, but a lot of differences, so you can break it down. Now, obviously, the Lebron X is something that hasn't been with us for 7 years. So I will say flat out, if you are a fan of Lebron X, you have a pair that's maybe worn out on you, because they actually do last a long time. I've met a few players, even as early as last year, who had 4 or 5 pairs of LeBron 10s. That's all they wanted to play in. You finally have a shoe that is really close to that you can finally replace it and actually start adding to your collection. So this is a very nice LeBron 10 substitute. Is it better than it in certain ways? So let's get to the performance breakdown, and we'll kind of interweave that comparisons throughout. So starting with the fit and the upper. All right, so Alpha and AlphaDunk really means kind of first, the premium, the best. This is $180, short of the Nike, the Kobe FF, which I'm going to shorten that name. This is $20 less, and honestly, $20 more. We'll get into that, but this is using an all-new version of Flyknit that is reminiscent of the LeBron 15 with the Battle Knit. Not quite the level of what the Battle Knit 2.0, which I think is maybe a little bit better. This is a little bit more rigid, but it is very giving. It does form to your foot. I was able to go with my true size 12, which I'm a 12 wide, and really get a nice fit on this. It took maybe 1 or 2 wears by the second run. This was really molding to the midfoot, to my toe box. Now, the funny thing is, Nightwing, which I did communicate with, he has a narrow foot, so I wanted to get a better idea how this would foot. I don't have a narrow foot, so I don't want to speak to it. And he said in his true size, they still felt kind of tight. So this is weird to me, but it does tell me that this is going to give you a secure fit that is going to mold to your foot, whether you have a narrow or wide foot. Now, both the Zoom Rize and the LeBron 10, I had to do a size 13. Those both run quite narrow, and I think most folks have noted that. So keep that in mind when you're ordering. Now, as far as the why not, I would still recommend going up half a size. I went with a 12, and it was a little bit tight. Maybe I could have gotten away with it, but a 12 and a half fits way better, which I have a pair, and this pair right here is a 13, and I still enjoy that more than the 12. So I would say go with about a half size up on the why not 2, as well as you're gonna have to do that if you're trying to find a LeBron 10 or with your Zoom Rize. I did try on a 13 in the Zoom Rize, and that's a pair that I probably couldn't even get my foot into a 12. It does run rather narrow. Now, a part of the difference in the price, where you're paying $180 versus $140 for the Zoom Rize, and just so you guys know, materials wise, the elite version that I have here, LeBron 10, that was a $250 shoe. This knit upper with this additional kind of double materials in the back, I can't really tell you that this is elite and better in any way, and the biggest reason for that is your why not 2. This has about 7 different materials throughout the shoe, but the performance is so nice, it doesn't matter that it's not knit or it's not leather, it's not suede. So the Zoom Rize, even though you're getting kind of an open mesh upper or engineered mesh, mesh, and you're not getting that double kind of heel engaged for the heel cup there. You're really still not getting the premium that maybe you would think for that much money. Now, that being said, the LeBron 10, with all that carbon fiber, with that full length Zoom Max, having technology that we just haven't seen before. But other than that, this was definitely a premium shoe and you felt it. So not that you mind paying the extra, but at least you can see where it's going. With the AlphaDunk, not so much. All right, so one of the biggest aspects of the AlphaDunk is the level of support. This is supposed to be probably the most supportive shoe in Nike or Jordan's lineup. Now, the Why Not 2 previously held that title. If you saw my top 5 shoes for mid-2019, a lot changes in just a few days. This, because of the completely flat, wide base, is giving you just a little bit more support than what you're getting in your Why Not 2. And there's a lot of players that really appreciate that. If you look at Nike in the past year, a lot of their shoes are or have went to the roundedness. If you look at a PG2 or PG3, that was slightly rounded. The Kyrie line, the Kobe 360. Even if you're looking at something like the KD12, that is a slightly rounded outsole, and even going to your LeBron with your segmented sole, nothing is giving you quite a flat, stable, wide base since the Why Not 1 actually. Now, you're similar to this though, you're getting the same effect on the Zoom Rize. So they kind of shot themselves in the foot there, where giving them something unique, you're able to get that even on the cheaper side. Now, I did talk about that double heel cup here, as well as that really stiff mesh. This is going to give you a slightly more support than the Zoom Rize, but I can't say it's a huge difference. And the support on the LeBron 10 is actually still a little bit more, and that's just because of the carbon fiber piece is holding you in here. Now, the support also is augmented by having the zoom in just the forefoot. You're getting a little bit more stable heel, which is going to give you again, like it says, a better landing. You feel a little bit more secure as far as your movements. This, because of the cushion going all the way through, the heel did get a little bit soft, it's a little bit mushy, and it potentially not cause injuries, but I do have had an Achilles injury in my left foot, which is healed up. I had surgery. I have a slight Achilles injury on my right heel, and this definitely aggravates it with that super soft heel. I don't get that on this, but what you do get, and this is part of the support but part of what I don't like, it is a very stiff shoe. Now, this is about 10% less stiff than what we got on the LeBron 10, which you can kind of see here, you can't really bend at all. I guess if I'm really trying to break the shoe, I can get it. So this is going to be a little bit better than what you got in the LeBron 10, but not much. So that stiffness can cause some issues with plantar fasciitis if you do have that, because it doesn't really move well with your foot. That, although it's giving you some stability, you do feel locked in, you feel very planted. Depending how big you are, that's something that could be a negative. Now, on top of that, because of that lack of movement, when you try to run forward, so you plant and then your heel is going forward, this is not really moving with you. So I know a few people had some issue with possible heel slip, and that's simply because your foot's trying to move and the shoe's not moving with you. You don't necessarily get that on the Zoom Rize, just because that's using a much softer foam, so it does flex a little bit better, and it's using a Zoom bag as opposed to the entire mid and forefoot, just using a really big toe and kind of midfoot, which I think is a little bit better size. It's not overly done. So the support, even though this is a little bit more than what you're getting in the Zoom Rize, I don't think it's as effective. Now, if you need that support, this is definitely a shoe that you're going to appreciate, and especially coming from the Why Not 2, because this has that flat wide base versus a decoupled and kind of rounded, this is definitely going to be on your radar. And I would say also look at the Zoom Rize, because either one of these is going to be able to fill that role as a very supportive option that you're looking for. Now, down to the cushion, like I said, this plays like a LeBron. I played with one on each foot. You can follow us on Instagram, and honestly, it was tough to tell the difference. When you're playing, hopefully you're on the balls of your toes. you are on your midfoot. You're not really on your heel. Now, if you're landing, the cushion on the heel on that's obviously gonna be a little bit better because it's Zoom Air. This is a really stiff foam. The Zoom Rize used a much softer foam. So that stiff foam, it does two things. One, it doesn't really have a nice transition, but as long as you're on the balls of your feet, your midfoot, your toes, it kind of doesn't matter, but it's not flexing as much as it should either. So the implementation of this is just, it's okay. I expected it from the LeBron 10s, and it being full length, at least it was consistent. This giving you a firm foam, and the reason for that is so it can actually support this huge Zoom Air, where this is not going to pop on you. This is very secure. This is going to last you a long time, but the consequences are having a much firmer foam. The Zoom Rize, because it has a smaller Zoom bag in the forefoot, that can get away with a much nicer foam, and the foam on that felt similar to what you got on, say, the Heritage N7, where that was a shoe that foam didn't feel like anything else Nike uses. It was really comfortable. So the cushion on this, even though it looks like it's full Zoom Max, it's not nearly as bouncy as you would think. The foam difference with that large volume Zoom Air on the Rize did feel quite a bit better. You're not getting nearly the propulsion or the bounce that you did on your Why Not 2. So even though this is a lot of cushion, unless you're a heavier guy, and I'm 245, and I would only feel it at full sprints. So if I'm doing any kind of moves, if I'm just jogging up the court, we made a shot, so you're not sprinting back to catch a fast break in defense, the cushioning was okay. I mean, it was very similar to LeBron 10, but LeBron 10 I felt a little more in the heel, and it was a little better transition, so I think I enjoyed it more on that. But if you're looking for a max cushion setup, and you're a bigger guy, and you like a little more of that stiffness, again, that's what we got in LeBron 10. Maybe this is gonna be nicer for you, but overall, even at 245, I felt the Zoom Rize was just a little bit better. All right, fit and traction are the top two things in looking at a shoe. So the fit on this, I was actually pleasantly surprised by, but the fact that it was so stiff, I couldn't really enjoy the movement of it. The traction, and you kind of see it's still a little bit dirty here from my last few plays. I'll post a video here on the last court I played on that was really dirty, and it just highlighted. It's still a clear sole, guys. If you're playing on a dirty court, it was okay. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good at all. And again, when I had this, I also had the LeBron 16s with me. On the exact same court, this rubber compound and this pattern, which I've said last year, this was pretty much my traction of the year for 2018. I didn't slip at all. This was amazing. This couldn't hold a candle to it. This was 185. This is 180. These are both knit. These are both max cushion setups. So for $5 less, we're getting less flexibility, we're getting worse traction, and we're getting a higher level of support, but I don't know if it's utilized as much. Now, looking at that, the traction on the LeBron 10s actually still held up. It was still really good. Now, I think the 16s are still a little bit better, but the 10s traction is just something you can use indoor, outdoor. It works. The pattern is nothing special, but they haven't really used it since, but this is something that still had better traction than these. Now, on a clean court, which I hate saying on a clean court, anything on a clean court is gonna work well. And on a clean court, these were sticking like glue, but it doesn't matter. This traction, and I'm gonna blame it mostly on the clear sole, because on the Zoom Rize, it's essentially the same pattern, but it has a lot more solid rubber. Those perform quite a bit better. Now, I only played the Zoom Rize a limited time, returned it, and got these, and I was hoping it was an upgrade, and I'm not so sure it was. At least in the traction, it was not an upgrade, and this didn't hold a candle to the Why Not 2s. So as far as the traction is concerned, pretty much a letdown. All right, so who is this for? Because if you're listening to this review, it sounds like I didn't like it that much, and it sounds like there's not much redeeming value to it. Well, let me give you two aspects. One, I just had someone comment saying they wanted the shoe that was really supportive, and I recommended the Why Not 2. They already owned it, they enjoyed it, but they wanted something that had a nice, flat, wide base. There comes, obviously, your AlphaDunk. It's giving you that flat, wide base with all that support, with relatively max cushion setup. Now, I would also say your Kobe FF for $20 more is a way better fit. But for this person and this player, and a lot of players out there who have custom orthotics or who use personalized insoles, The Zoom FF, you can't use your insole. So something like the AlphaDunk, or in this case also the Zoom Rize, this is something where you can use your insole in something that's going to give you max support with max cushion, nice flat stable base, and you can personalize it with either your custom orthotic or the insole that you use to play. And a lot of NBA players use custom orthotics, so this is very important to them. And I shouldn't say NBA players, just a lot of people in general. It's very common. So now on that token, you can say the AlphaDunk is perfect for that player. But I think the AlphaDunk is giving you a better transition, better traction. The materials are going to be kind of a wash, even though the AlphaDunk is better with the knit. I can't say it's a better performer. The only thing the AlphaDunk is giving you is maybe a little bit more support. So I will give the edge to that. So if you're looking for a max support, this really does claim that title with a lot of caveats. I prefer the Zoom FF, but I don't need an insole. And I prefer the Why Not 2 because I don't mind the rounded edges. So for those players out there, if you're looking to decide, is this the shoe for you? Hopefully I've broken it down quite a bit. Honestly, if you're able to get your hands on a LeBron 10, it's actually a little bit better of a shoe. Now it's coming on 7 years old, so looking for them, finding one in good condition, I'm not too sure how hard that would be. I haven't tried. I still actually have 4 pairs, which one of them, or is it 2? One of them is dead stock. So the My LeBron 10s I did play with quite a bit more up until LeBron 15 and LeBron 16, both of which I think have surpassed it and I think are better options, but they're still not giving me that flat, secure base that a lot of players still enjoy. So between the Zoom Rize, if we're cutting that down, and the AlphaDunk, your biggest differences are going to be slightly more support on your AlphaDunk, as well as maybe a little bit better materials. And even though you have more zoom, I don't think it's utilized or it's as effective as what maybe you're hoping for, unless you're a bigger guy and or you just like a little bit stiffer cushion, which doesn't really make sense if you're looking for max cushion. The Zoom Rize cushion is just implemented a little bit better with a little bit nicer foam, better transition, better traction, and for $40 less, I'm struggling to find why you would spend $40 more. Guys, girls, any players out there, if you have used either one of these shoes, let me know your experience. Let me know if I'm off, if I missed anything. Really hoping to help all the players out there with giving you kind of a detailed breakdown. If I miss anything, let me know. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer in the comments below. If you're not following us already, you can follow us on not only Instagram, Twitter, Facebook as well. And if you're looking for our Sneaker Gears insoles, they are available for worldwide shipping through our eBay store. And our Velocity Cushion insoles, sadly enough, would make an improvement on the AlphaDunk, but it's just such a stiff shoe. You're getting that bounce, which is nice, but the transition is ruined. So you can use it, but when you're spending $180 and you want max cushion, I'm almost saying you shouldn't need to put a max cushion insole in it. But I'm happy to sell you guys one, and if you already bought one and you're disappointed, I can tell you it will make a huge difference, giving you that max cushion feel that you were looking for. So that being said, really appreciate you guys and girls. This is Levi Sneaker Gears, and I'll come at you later.